Hey, how well did you know Chris Doleman? Fairly well.
I mean, when we were growing up, you figure he was probably at the house once or twice a week.
Wow.
Damn, yeah.
I mean, Pops and him played together for 11 years.
Beasts.
I'm only thinking like what me and Mark Ingram were, right? Like 8 years together. Saw my guy every day at the locker room. You know, my kids know his kids. My girl knows his girl.
Yeah.
My parents know his parents. You know, everybody's at this
So you guys
at
are
a part of
close.
football. We're close.
Yeah.
That's what Dole was to Pops.
Yeah.
So I've got memories. You've got nothing but pictures of us as kids playing around. Everybody's at birthday parties, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
as you grow up, you play defensive end, and you automatically you emulate some of the greats. You emulate Reggie White's club,
Yeah.
but you can't do in the league. You emulate the speed rush from Lawrence Taylor. You look at Chris Doleman and the way that he had a variety of different moves.
Yeah,
he
right.
believed in hand games, and then you're able to talk to him. You're able to talk about it. And it's like, hey nephew, like whenever you get a chance, like let me imbue some knowledge on you.
Right.
And you go about your way. It's like to realize, you have living legends. Like I got to grow up around Chris Doleman. I got to grow up around John Randall. There's Hall of Fame defensive linemen
I
that
know.
are just aplenty.
Yeah.
In my life.
Right.
And for me to come out of defensive lineman, it's like, I had all this access to them. I never even thought about using them.
Right.
Like I never thought about going to them because I was like, that's not our wavelength. Our
Fucking
wavelength
defensive
is
line used to scare me when I played my dad.
I'm
I used
sure.
to be like, Dad's going to get the shit
Keith
kicked out of
Millard in the
today.
middle. Like,
right.
yeah, let's
And
so
they
much.
were good. They were good.
And does it ever seem weird to you, Cam, that you're kind of at a point now, given everything you've accomplished and what you've done, you've become kind of one of those guys, like just with
that's not true.
passage of time?
That's
What?
impossible.
No, that's you're not. You're selling yourself short.
Chris
You're one-
Doleman went 150 sacks deep.
Okay. Well,
John
you're-
Randall went like a $130 something.
Okay. I get you
You still
there.
got time left.
Right.
How many
You
you
do.
have?
I've got 87.
All right. So
That's
you're going
not
to get to
that far
100.
behind.
You're
Right.
going to get there for
Yeah,
sure.
I feel good when I compare numbers to like Willie McGinnis, and I'm like, he had 86. I was
Yeah.
like, great, I passed him.
Well, I would even
Conversation.
say, and again, I would say to this, where it's not as sexy, and maybe the Hall of Fame's not going to recognize it. You play the run better than Chris Doleman did.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that's where people that's where it frustrates me. I wonder what's your take on that? When people don't really understand that aspect of the game.
I've always told my boys. So I got rookies coming in, I got D tackles coming in, and they're like, "Hey man, you have all these TFLs." Like I told Sheldon Ray, because when he got it, he's like, "I'm gonna lead the league in TFLs." He's like, they're gonna respect me then. I was like, "Hey bro, you're gonna get respect from all the players in the world, but fans are here for sacks.
Yeah, I know.
If it's not sacks, they honestly don't care.
Yeah.
So when you talk about Pro Bowl accolades, that might never be you, but in terms of the football world,
Right.
you can submit yourself as one of the greats.
Definitely.
Well, there's a new stat that we're trying to get the Elias Sports Bureau to officially recognize. Chris came up with it. It's basically called the F up the play stat, where it's never
Explosion.
shown
About.
Yeah,
no
explosion.
tackle, no
Hey,
sack.
you say it, and I already know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
that's
You've
it. You
affected
ruined the play, but
You've
somebody
affected
else
the
gets
play.
the tackle.
Absolutely.
Right.
You,
to me, that's just. I mean, Aaron Donald's the king of that.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Absolutely.
you do it a lot too.
Jadavion Clowney probably is like
One
the
of the
second. I'll
leaders.
say no doubt.
Right.
You talking about messing up every play, but he's like one step away from second to quarterback. One step away from creating a TFL.
Right.
But he makes the running back cut back.
Right.
And he's like the defense just feeds into it. Absolutely. There's disruptors for sure.
Yeah.
And I consider myself one of the better ones at it as well. You talk about disrupting a play. I may not make the tackle. I may not make the sack. I may not swat the ball down. But maybe the trajectory of the ball arcs.
Right.
On terms of like a screen or whatever you're going to have, a swing play, the running back has to bubble out because you've set the edge of where you have. So now he's all the way at the end line, and the safety just comes up and,
Yeah, or somebody's open downfield, but now you're in the quarterback's face, and he had a shuffle and move, and now he's not open because you were there to disrupt it that way.
No doubt. I mean,
you're the man that way.
Yeah, as a defensive lineman, you
Right.
look at that and you're like, how can I affect the play?
Right.
I could care less about outside perspective because in my eyes, I'm like, I've got to be the best. I've got to try to be the best. I've got to try and affect every play because I feel like that's going to help my team be better than what we were.
Who's your arch nemesis in football right now? Like tackle. Who's the one guy? And I know you got great self-confidence and you're the freaking man. But who is that guy where you always go, man, okay, this is going to be tough day's work right here?
Almost everybody. I mean, I look across the league. I'm like, even if the tackle isn't up to par, even if I look at the tight end, and I'm like, if he's ever across me, I'm putting hands on this man. I know I'm catching more than just the tackle or the tight end.
Right.
Even if they leave the tight end open, it's normally because we're in an under front and I'm like low key in a 5 or I'm adjusted into a 6.
Sure.
So I've got, if I got outside contain, I've got to do all this extra work. So it looks like they're blocking me. And you look like, you look at some film and he's like Cam, you got to do more. Right. You got random fans on there like, oh, why weren't you there on the edge? I was like, well, because we had safety help, so I technically wasn't the edge.
It wasn't supposed to be your responsibility.
He's like, the tight end walled you off.
Right.
Well, because I was never in position to be on the 9. I was a 5.
Yeah.
Not going to lie to you.
Right.
That's sort of systematically the problem.
I know. Well, yeah. We got a lot of armchair quarterbacks.
Right.
We've heard some stories this week about how your meeting room got all stunk up by dead fish after the win over Seattle.
I forgot about that. He was out there chucking them.
Did he throw one your way?
No. Thank the Lord, no.
What's the best one of the year? Or what's your best one of Sean?
That one where Mike Nolan caught it and tried to take a plug out the daggum salmon? I mean,
right?
Yeah, what? He was ready. Mike Nolan caught this big old salmon, and then just like savagely ripped a piece off of it. I was like, he went through the scales and all, and I was like, no, that's impressive. I was like, yo, I could do that too. I tried to playfully bite it, and I was like, no.
I hope that fish didn't go to waste, though. Somebody cooked it and ate some of that stuff, right?
Most likely.
All right,
yeah.
I hope so.
Come on, 14 of them.
Okay,
and they're like
I
40
just don't want
pounds.
them wasted.
They weren't just like cuts of salmon from Whole Foods.
Okay.
No, this was
like the real fish.
Absolutely.
Right.
He's not going back to Whole Food after the butcher gave him a hard time about that going for 2 against the 49ers, and he had to tell the butcher, worry about your own meat.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
That was after that 49ers game. Give us your scouting report on the 49ers.
We had watched film up until we played them, and it was like, hey, they're running the ball, outside runs. We get into the game, and you didn't see outside run until the end of the second quarter.
Right.
They switched up the DNA because as much as we game plan, they're game planning themselves too. So, the league then had to adapt to them, and you saw guys adjust, realizing they could do more than just run the ball.
Yeah. Do you feel like you guys are like freaking cursed right now?
I feel like we're always poised to be in a position to make phenomenal runs.
Right.
I feel that in terms of our endings in the playoff runs, I feel like we can never really be caught in a game. We're not one of those teams that wins by a point or two in the playoffs. We win by multiple touchdowns.
Yeah, right.
And you talk about postseason from the last 2 years, we win by multiple touchdowns. So anytime it's in a one-score matter, we're leaving it out of our hands. We're adding in the 12th man, and that 12th man doesn't necessarily like us. And I'm not talking about the 12th man from Seattle.
No, I know.
I'm talking about black and white stripes here.
we got
Somehow,
it.
I think they broke out of Saints prison or something to come back for us. Because at this point, I feel like there's sort of a vindictive effort here.
Well, I mean, we're with you. I mean, you guys have been got the short straw a bunch.
And Chris asked Alvin about this the other day. The idea that you guys were so close to having a bye with the end of the Seahawks-49ers game. Jacob Hollister almost scores the touchdown. How hard was it to set aside the crap, we should be off this week? Well, we got to focus on playing a game. Like, did that creep in at all, this idea that we shouldn't even be playing this game?
You don't have to worry about shouldn't be playing because you are playing. Yeah. I mean, if anything, you just cast that aside and you focus on exactly what you have to do. If anything, that cemented who we were playing that week. You knew you had the Vikings. You knew exactly what they had to do. And everything that we wanted to do as a team, we had to capitalize on the win.
You talking to the McCourty twins?
No doubt.
Hey, we're doing a live
apart.
interview here, okay? Can you please leave us alone? All right, you two Jersey misfits.
Could not tell them apart.
They're tough ones. It is hard. I know them since they were little, and I still can't tell them apart.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, what up, twin? Other twin. But we talk about everything that we are as athletes, everything that we train for, to not only be ready for the season, but just in the offseason, keep our bodies right, keep our minds active. Like, again, I was telling you that earlier that I took a run on the beach this morning, and after the run is you got to replenish your body. What better way to do it with superior hydration, body armor? They have the body armor here. They have the body armor lights, which even cuts down even more. But we talk about what it brings back into. It gives you your electrolytes. It's coconut water based.
Right.
It doesn't have the additives that other sports drinks have.
Yeah.
You talk about it has no artificial sweeteners, no added dyes. No
I'm
added
big on
flavors.
that. Good.
And in today's society, that's That's huge.
I'm Mr.
Everybody's reading
Organic
the, I'm
guy.
saying, right.
I don't want that.
Everybody's looking for the organic route, and this is just a simple way to not only refresh your body and give it what it needs, but not have to feel like I just had 5 tablespoons of sugar.
Yeah, right. What do you like? How conscious are you like Thursday, Friday, Saturday of hydrating and like everything like going into the game?
Well, I've got I've got the big liter bottles of water. They got the Body Armor water,
right?
And so it's got the good pH in it. And when I talk about pH, then it's a whole other category. I've got guys that are firm believers, bro, if it's not 9-something pH, I'm not drinking. I'm like, well, I got this Body Armor that, what I'm saying? I've been drinking now for 2 years or so, a year and a half. So
right.
And it's I can tell the difference. I now understand why people just don't drink the generic.
Water.
Other brands, right?
Yeah, the other brands. I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this card.
Yeah.
9-year veteran, 5-time Pro Bowler, all-pro selection. Does that you look at that and you think that's not me, that's somebody else? Like nine. Did you ever think
only
like
one
9
first-team
years
all-pro selection? Because now we're in this combination of edge, and edge is all the skinny people in the world, and then there's defensive ends, and I'm just sitting there yeah, we're edge.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here as the grande Maximo burrito here, and then they bring in a quesadilla and hey, you guys are saying.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, you're right.
I don't think so.
You're playing a different position
right.
than Von Miller or something like that.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah.
TJ Watt, stay on the outside.
Yeah,
Ain't no way he's
exactly
sliding
right.
in.
Yeah, no way. You're right. And
Well,
you're
they don't
doing
let
it
us
all.
vote. If we voted, you'd be all-pro every year.
I appreciate
They don't let
that.
us vote.
Yeah,
I
you're the
appreciate
man. And all-pro on the field, and all-pro hair and chin.
The mustache,
face.
baby.
The mustache is probably primo here. It flips up when it wants to,
Right.
but I keep it down. I normally just turn up for game days.
You look good, man.
I appreciate
You're the
it.
man.
There he is, Cam Jordan. Good seeing you, buddy.
bro.
Thanks for including us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.